recording. Recording in progress. Oh, but we lose the bar. Oh no, we don't lose the bar. It's just see, it's like just reading out. I like that. Oh, I like this. This is not bad. Okay. Hi everyone. My name is Mondo, and this is episode 47 of Hungry Gaming Podcast. Thank you for tuning in. Today is March 3rd, 2018, but you are most likely listening in sometime after this coming Monday. If you are new to the show, every week we discuss a gaming issue, the pros and cons, and then later we pass the conversation on to you, the jury, to make a final verdict. Today's dispute will be on PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds versus Fortnite Battle Royale. Which game does the Battle Royale genre best? Joining us today, our co-host, Luis. What's up, dude?
How's it going, man? Played Sea of Thieves. I know we're gonna talk a little bit about that.
Oh, dude, most definitely. It was exciting. I'm excited for Sea of Thieves. Just the general premise of that game is just really exciting. But you know what? Before we begin, there is some housekeeping. Please remember to check out our main website, www.hungjurynetwork.com. There you can find all of our latest episodes, and you can subscribe to make sure you never miss a beat of what we have to say. Episodes are uploaded every Monday, although timing may depend on the weather. You can also find us on iTunes, Podbean, Google Play Music, Stitcher, and other affiliate podcast services by simply searching Hungry Gaming Podcast. If you have something to say, a comment, or recommendation, join the jury by liking our Facebook page and tweeting us at Hungry Gaming Podcast. Well, before we begin talking about the discussion for this week, let's talk about last week's verdict. So last week we discussed casual versus gaming players. We discussed, well, all the games we were playing, Rainbow Six and all of those things, and just our thoughts on the competitive aspect and the casual gamers. And we have the results. Thank you guys for all of those who voted. The casual gamers, 15%. That's pretty cool. I mean, considering that most gamers don't like to really consider themselves casual gamers, I appreciate that. I'm a casual gamer, so I appreciate the fact that, we were able to get some of that. Competitive gamers, 29%. And then we have a little of both, 57%. What do you think about that?
I just think about the little GIF from that Mexican commercial about the tacos.
Why not
Why
both?
not both?
Yeah, I think it's great. I think it's good, and I think that it makes sense.
Best of both worlds.
Yeah, it makes sense. And I think a lot of people, like kind of how we mentioned in the last episode, that a lot of people will probably pick up a game and say, I'm a casual here, but then they'll pick up another game and say, no, I'm competitive here. So it makes perfect sense. I like that. The general update for this week, let's talk about Sea of Thieves stress test. You were able finally to get your hands, Luis, on the game. Thoughts?
Yes, I was. It's one of the most beautiful games I've ever played. And up to date, the best pirate simulator ever.
Wow.
I really do hope they add the fishing later on, though. That definitely needs to be added.
Yeah. Even though there's debate on whether they want to add it or not, but we've been looking around.
I played with you, and we based on a lot of people that put YouTube videos, they go around islands and looking at clues for what's coming up next in the game. And with you, I remember that we saw like little hieroglyphics of a fisherman. So I'm pretty sure they're going to implement later on spears or something that we can hunt down some fauna in the ocean, hopefully.
Yeah. And hopefully, not only will it be just a pastime, but it'll be something along the lines of a actual economy. Like they'll add the chicken and they'll add the pigs, and we have to like put them in cages, and they'll add like a fishing economy, which is kind of cool. I think Assassin's Creed Black Flag did something like that. You just go hunt whales and use the whale skin to then upgrade stuff, which, I mean, I don't think it'll be that intricate, but I think they can, have like the economy set up for, you get fish and then you can sell them or give them back as loot, and get money off that.
I'd be pretty upset if they don't at least include whales in this game.
Whales. I'm sure they will. We've seen there are other, so we saw the fishing one, but I'm very sure that I saw another cave painting per se. It's technically, I guess what it is, where they're fishing something bigger than just fish. Like the one that we saw had like 3 little fishies. The other one that I saw had like a bigger fish. So that's pretty cool. Nice. So the game is set to release March 20th, but there will be a open beta claimed by Rare before the release. So if you have not picked up a copy of, or a pre-order, better said, of Sea of Thieves, you'll be able to jump in and play with friends there and kind of make a choice if this is the game for you. But please be aware that scale testing is currently going on. If you are, well, you're listening to this on Monday. The scale test will end the Sunday before you're listening. But if there is another scale test, know that Rare has already released information on how you can gain access to those scale tests, and it's simply by going and joining the Insider Hub. If you're already a member of the Insider Hub, all you got to do is go and download the game. Or if you're on PC, just download the Insider Hub app from the Microsoft Store. That's assuming if you have not pre-ordered the game. You pre-ordered the game, you probably already have it saved somewhere in your gaming library. Next to talk about Escape from Tarkov. Luis, you just picked up the game, I think about a few days ago. I've been playing this game all week. I love it. I think it's probably by far my most competitive part of my library. It's intense. It's insane. Thoughts?
Definitely does not hold your hand. Once you play, you go in and you have no idea what to do. That is a game that you need to do your research on. As an FPS shooter, it's just super realistic. I love it because of that fact. Once you get shot somewhere, you have to make sure you have to either use splint if your bones were broken. You have to make sure you're hydrated. So there's a lot of survival in that game, and it's really relatable to Hunt. I saw how you made the comparison. I definitely see it. It's a very audio intense game in the sense that, you have to be very quiet and make sure you're like walking very slowly, because there is a lot of fear. Because if you die, you lose everything that you came into the map with. So I like the fact that they implemented that one life only situation, and I'm excited to keep playing it and get better at it.
Yeah, I think the one thing this game does right where Hunt fails to do is there is no loot system in Hunt. You don't have a situation where you jump in and you get a better gun when you leave the map.
No.
I think that's where this game, Escape from Tarkov, really hits me. I love it for that reason. I'm a loot guy. For those of you guys who play Destiny, you know that Destiny is primarily a loot game. I mean, you're pretty much playing the game just purely for loot. That's all you do. And this game has kind of like fused Hunt and PUBG together in this like weird like child, and I love it. I love the gameplay.
Works well. Yeah,
it works well, right? And
not only that, but the AI was very formidable. The AI is not. I mean, sometimes you can easily kill them, but if they spot you and you're not aware, they can easily gun you down, and you gotta be very careful with that.
Yeah, the AI is actually quite impressive.
Yeah.
A lot of people joke around saying that it's difficult to tell an AI from a real person, and I think that comes primarily from the idea that you really don't get the chance to see the AI when they start shooting at you. So you'll be walking, and I've had this happen where I'll be walking and like an actual player will be next to me and they just won't shoot me because some people actually don't want to get into a fight. Like they just want to go loot and they want to get out. Some people will attack you. But the AI is just trained to attack you at all times.
Were you a scav when that happened?
No. I was playing as a player. With the scav, they will not attack you. If you attack them, they will.
Yeah.
But if you don't attack them, actually it's a lot easier to play as a scav. Now, for those of you who are not aware of the way this game plays, there are 3 factions in the game. There is USEC, there is bears, and then you have scavs. Scavs is they're like the AI in the game. However, you get like a 20-minute cooldown once you join in as a scav, but the idea is that a player can join in to any match as an AI. You're playing, but you're playing in like the position of an AI, and you can pretty much spawn in with the weapons that the AI has. Pros is that you spawn in with that type of weaponry and you don't lose if you die. You don't lose anything of yours because you spawn in with whatever the AI would have spawned in with. The cons is that you don't spawn in with a predetermined set. So if you normally go in with like a backpack and medical material and stuff like that, you're not guaranteed that at all. I mean, you could jump in with a backpack, maybe a little pouch, but there's no guarantee. One of my scavs I jumped into one of the scavs and the guy had nothing at all. Like I was like, okay, so I guess I'm gonna have to fend for myself.
The scavs to me served as a warm up. in the sense that you want to get the feel for the game when you first start. So you put yourself in the mindset, that survival mindset, because this game is definitely not Call of Duty. It is punishing, and you will die within one shot to the chest. So, and you gotta be careful with, like you said, you have to hoard your loot because the money goes down fast, and those 8Ks aren't cheap.
No,
they aren't cheap at all.
For the most part, I get most of my loot from like looting the map.
Yeah.
We'll discuss this more. I know we're definitely going to discuss it a little more in depth next week. So we'll talk about that more next week, and we'll try and make it a point to actually go into the minute details of the game. I think the game deserves more than just a few minutes of airtime. So that's definitely that. So guys, if you guys are interested, it's called Escape from Tarkov. The game is not released yet. It's in a beta stage. But if you pre-order the game, you get access to that beta stage. Plus, they give you some added incentives. This is not a sponsorship in any way. I'm just letting you guys know. I enjoy the game, so jump in. It's like $45. But I think the game it's somewhat optimized. I would actually say if you're going to dump your money into either Hunt or this one, I would say buy this one. So it's at least optimized, but it is for a different crowd. So we'll talk more about that next week. One last thing before we jump into our discussion of the week. H1Z1's Auto Royale. This is an interesting twist on the original H1Z1 Battle Royale system, which PUBG took from that game. But now they kind of give it like a little twist. It's Auto Royale. It's car-based. Luis, I know that we're both kind of like not really fully aware of what's going on here, but all I saw the gameplay, I saw stuff, and I was like, "What? These guys are like running around like they're in cars." It seemed pretty cool, but I'm not sure if it's what H1Z1 needs at the moment.
I think they just wanted to kind of take some of the crowd from PUBG and Fortnite's popularity, and make a whole new Royale type of scenario. That's what they're doing. That's definitely what they're doing to see if it works. But when you look at it, it's simple. From what I've seen in the gameplay, it's just they have these ramps. Everyone's in cars shooting at other cars and picking up power-ups. It just kind of makes you wish you were playing Twisted Metal.
Yeah.
The original one.
Yeah, no. The game, it looks interesting. I'm not really going to say that it's enough for me to like download H1Z1 again.
Yeah.
But I don't necessarily think this is what H1Z1 needed. We've got Fortnite and PUBG heading it, 1v1 today. In our conversation, and H1Z1's just not going to be in it. It's fallen behind. I think they've already kind of released information that they're going to finally release the game. It's been in early access
since 2015, I think.
Yeah. Before we jump into the discussion, I think it's healthy to at least discuss the fact that the reason that I stopped playing H1Z1 was because I just felt like PUBG did exactly what H1Z1 was doing, but better. Like there are some complaints I have of PUBG that I feel would have been fixed with some H1Z1 implementation. One thing being the loot. I think H1Z1 has more loot and more things to kind of like collect as you play the game. But besides that, taking that part of the criticism away, I think PUBG in general does a good job of the Battle Royale genre between those two. So, I mean, I don't know. Luis, did you ever play H1Z1?
I didn't. But from what the gameplay that I saw, it just seemed it was wonky. A little bit less realistic than PUBG is. But no, I heard a lot of people that they had issues with the Battle Royale game. And honestly, I did not even know about... Because I like the whole PUBG gameplay, that since I was a kid, I was like, oh, I would like to play a game like that. That there was like 100 people in like one space, and they all had to fight each other to see who's the top dog.
Yeah.
And I didn't even know about H1Z1. Like, it was under the radar. But until PUBG came out, PUBG is the one that, brought the Battle Royale into the limelight. And now we have this whole arsenal of these games that have been coming out and implementing Battle Royale into their, style of their game modes. So PUBG, I feel like was the one that accelerated that type of gameplay.
No, and you're absolutely right. I think that PUBG really put the Battle Royale genre on the radar. That's what PUBG is best known for. Anybody who's played H1Z1 and PUBG knows how similar those two games are. They're very similar. Similar down to the way the game looks, minus some graphical detail and improvements on PUBG side. But for the most part, they look very similar. I remember that when PUBG first came out, I was still kind of neck deep in H1Z1, and I had difficulties telling the two apart when I would jump into a stream or I would watch a player playing the game. I would have to really not focus, but it wouldn't just be like a glance off and be like, oh yeah, it's definitely PUBG, or oh yeah, it's definitely. I had to actually stop and be like, wait, what game is being played? Is it H1Z1 or PUBG? But we know in the end which game is the most popular amongst those two. Obviously, PUBG has countless numbers of concurrent players. It's released on console, Xbox in particular. More on that in the coming debate. But for the most part, you know what? I think that PUBG is just the overall better genre, the better Battle Royale game when it comes to the two. Obviously, I don't think I'm the only one that thinks that. So that's that. And Luis, any closing thoughts for this part of the segment before we jump into the discussion of the week?
Not really.
All right. Okay, well, guys, this is the part where we discuss the discussion of the week. And the discussion will be Battle Royale versus PUBG, PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds. Let's start first. General thoughts. PUBG was a copy, literally best said, a copy of H1Z1, which H1Z1 was then a copy of DayZ, and DayZ was a copy of Arma 2, and back and forth, and just it's been a train of.
We could go all the way back to Pong if we could relate games.
Actually, you know what? The correction is not Arma 3, it's Arma 2. I don't know why I said Arma 3. But yeah, all the way back to Pong. It's just been kind of like this. The gaming is just like that. You've got this like upgrade, and just this idea that you're getting somebody else's work and you're just upgrading it, you're making it better. It's just kind of like this artistic style that is in this industry. Then you have Fortnite, which is developed by Epic Games, the developers of the Unreal Engine. And funny enough, they created Fortnite, okay, with kind of like PUBG in mind. Like that's just the general thought. There was some bickering back and forth when Fortnite Battle Royale was released. But for the most part, it really didn't result in anything. Fortnite Battle Royale is almost topping the charts, right next to PUBG. It's very easy to come to the conclusion, and it's safe to come to the conclusion that PUBG and Fortnite are the top two Battle Royale games.
Apple and Microsoft.
I think those are two. Very good very good Battle Royale genre like examples. And they're the ones that are topping the Twitch stream charts. So we're going to discuss those two. We're going to go through some cons, some pros. We're going to kind of divide the issue into different categories. Those categories are going to be the map. They're going to be the weapons and items, the graphics, the gameplay mechanics, and then least, but most definitely not least, my most favorite part of any game is talking about its optimization, because what point is a game if it's difficult to play? So we'll talk about that, and let's just start with the map. PUBG has two maps. It's got the Erangel. I don't know how to pronounce that, but it's like the wood map. It's like the Russian part of like the Russian city type countryside, and then you've got Miramar, which was released earlier this fall, which is just the desert map that we all known to love and mostly hate. So let's talk about that. Fortnite has the normal map. There's really no name to it, but it's just the map. It's only one map.
The Fortnite Battle Royale map, as it says here.
That's exactly it. So what do you think? For the most part, I guess we could just discuss really quickly the PUBG maps. The fact that the Woods map has gotten praise. People like the Wood map, the Erangel map. But Miramar hasn't gotten that good praise. Most people think that it's somewhat of it's harder. It's a harder map.
Yes. I mentioned that before, that the desert one has less obstructions in the way, which makes you more visible. and the elevation is an issue. If you're in a higher elevation, if you're on a mountain, you could easily spot with a sniper people, and they'll be in trouble. But Erangel to me is my favorite map. I love the fact that you can go prone and hide in bushes and all that. And I think it's just a better map to have the PUBG experience so far.
Yeah, no, I completely get you. For the most part, I think most gamers agree that the wood map is a more balanced map. I think the loot in the Erangel map is also a little more balanced. I mean, I don't know how many times I've jumped into the Miramar map and I'm like, oh crap, I've got a shotgun, and then I'm in the middle of a valley, like, surrounded by just open desert.
I will give it this, because they have different strategies to them, with the vegetation in Erangel. You can go prone in more areas, but with the Miramar map, you have to find cars and vehicles, and you need doom buggies to be able to go through those mountainous ranges. And those doom buggies really are praised in that map. Let me tell you how it's a blessing.
Yeah, absolutely. So then let's compare. We've already discussed those two maps, just kind of like a little comparison amongst the two, so we get a good full balanced conversation. But now let's kind of like let's change the focus and then talk about the Fortnite map. It's smaller than both Miramar and Erangel, much smaller. And it's the same amount of players. So you have in Fortnite, you have 100 players, or up to 100. Usually it's give or take a few. And you have 100 players in PUBG, and in either one of those two maps, give or take a few. The map itself, though, I personally, since I've played Fortnite enough, I can tell that it's more like dynamic. There's more highs and lows, if that makes sense. Yeah. There's very little plain, like just open, like long fields. I think that goes down to the mechanics of the gameplay, which we'll be discussing in a few more categories. But I think overall the map is just smaller. It's just a smaller map. Is it designed better? I don't know. I think I would arguably say that the map in Fortnite has more. I can't say like it has more.
It's smaller in the sense that it's designed to be an adrenaline rush type of battle royale feeling. The whole premise there with them is that they want you to have less time, less waiting time to fight and confront someone. They want you to be pushed, so you can be able to like have more of those dynamic engagements. Rather with PUBG, that it's you go the whole game without confronting someone. And that's where they differ a lot. And a lot of people complain with PUBG in the sense that, there's a lot of boring time. And that's why I go with PUBG here, because I actually like the realistic sensation that PUBG gives with those boring times. But we could go further with that later if you want. Yeah.
No, absolutely. So your verdict for your side, you say PUBG wins on the maps. Is that your final verdict?
Well, I love PUBG over Fortnite.
I know. You let's give the audience a little bit of a disclaimer here. You're a PUBG fan,
a heavy PUBG fan.
I think I'm a little more unbiased, but I'm gonna give it where it's due. I think Fortnite is great when it comes to the map design, but I do think that it's a plus on PUBG that there's two maps. So there's more dynamic, there's more ability for you to get either the desert map or the woods map, and I'm just referring it to that way because it's easier. I'm not a big fan of Erangel as a word. I just can't say it.
The strength that Fortnite has over PUBG is that the map is always going to be ever changing with Fortnite, because you can build anything anywhere. Yes. You could build a huge mansion with the resources that you have, and by tilted towers, or any in the middle of the grassy plains, you can build a house there. With PUBG, the reason I like that, the fact that it's so huge is because I like it's realistic, like how it is like with war. Like in Vietnam, it would be like that you would be with your squad and you could be talking about with your friends about anything, right? And then it could be a long period of time before you had a confrontation with the enemy. And then all of a sudden you could be walking through the fields, and all of a sudden a sniper starts shooting you, and that's when the whole confrontation begins. And I like those moments in PUBG. You never know when it's going to happen. Or there's other moments that I've been in houses with my friends just talking about our day, and all of a sudden you hear a car, you go, shh, oh my God, there's a car coming. And then you guys have to quickly figure out, what you're going to do and what's the scenario going to play out. With Fortnite, I don't feel that intensity because I already know I'm going to confront someone, whether it's like in a 1 or minute or two. And, yeah.
Yeah. No, definitely. It's I think that because of the size of the map, you're more likely to just come across more people. Mm-hmm. If it was less people, maybe half, maybe 50, you'd be less prone to run into somebody and have these like high adrenaline confrontations. With PUBG, you're right. The size of the map adds to the complexity of some of the battles and the skirmishes that you have to have. I mean, some of these like like moments of conflict happen amongst many distances, whereas in Fortnite it feels closer. Even the snipers are not really, they don't feel like real long snipers. The bullet drop is not there, so it feels like a more quick engagement.
Right.
So I definitely agree with that. Let's focus now a little bit of our attention to the weapons and items. There are differences between the types of things that you find in a PUBG map and the things you will find in a Fortnite map. Particular, it's the categories of the weapons. PUBG has focused itself more on a kind of just a quick level 1, level 2, level 3 system. So if you find a level 1 bag, it's less valuable than a level 2, and that one will be less valuable in level 3. And I'm not really sure if this is exactly how it is, but it's the way it's felt. But level 3 are just harder to find, period. Like, I guess there's like a level of rarity. It's just harder.
Yeah.
It's just more common to find level 1 and level 2. And level 2 is also harder to find than level 1. It's just kind of like this chain. And then in Fortnite, you have the levels, which are very RPG-like, very Blizzard-like. You've got the commons, the uncommon, the rare. I think it goes up to what? It's like epic and then legendary.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what do you think? I mean, I think personally that PUBG's easier to kind of like just pick up and be like, oh, level 1, level 2, level 3. It's easier, and then you have like the more RPG like a little more dynamic, you can say, because like it's got more things to find. But I don't know. That's just my thoughts.
Fortnite to me is very arcadey feeling, and it is arcadey. It's intended for a younger demographic over PUBG. In Fortnite you have any age group playing it at any certain time. With the PUBG weapons, I feel like they're real weapons. So it's you either pick up an ump and the other person picks up an ump, and you have both the same weapon and they have the same, general stats, unless you find attachments and add attachments to it. You add a scope, you have an advantage. But at the end of the day, an ump is an ump for both players. The gripe I have with Fortnite is that I think they have a lot of these, the color schemes. It's excessive because at the end, when you killed someone, the person who has the orange gun, the orange gun is still going to be the guy with the green weapon, point blank.
Yeah.
If you guys if at the same time you guys shoot each other, at the chest with the same stats, the guy with the orange weapon is going to win. And that's the same in PUBG. It could be the same thing, but at the end, you're going to have the AK shooting each other. You guys will kill each other at the same time. That's why I think PUBG has the advantage there. Now, I don't like Fortnite because of the fact that they have a bazooka. The rocket launcher. No.
You don't like rockets. You don't like explosives.
I do not like it, and I hope they do not add that to PUBG because it will be a game killer. I understand why the bazooka's there. It's there because it's fun. It's there because you can destroy walls instantaneously with it. But whoever has the bazooka is a god in that game. It's super difficult because the bazooka kills from a mile away. And also shotguns in that game are extremely overpowered. I feel like those two weapons of choice are what everyone's going for. In fact, in the streamers, if you look at the streamers, they're always going like, oh man, I really need a shotgun. And that doesn't happen with PUBG streamers. They go like, oh, I got the M16. Oh, I got an AK. Oh, I got the SKS. Oh, I got the You know, there's a whole list that they're excited for weaponry, where in Fortnite, it's felt to me that it's either you have an orange weapon, or you have a bazooka, or you have the rocket launcher. And, or you have a shotgun. And that's, to me, like the 3 most important weapons.
Yeah. No, I'm with you.
Yeah.
I think that, for when it comes to the way that Fortnite implements the weapons and items, I like. The thing is that, again, we have to look at the game in like the way it's made, and when you really look at what Fortnite is it's a more stylized version of a battle royale game. It's stylized. It's got arcade features to it, where PUBG is a little more. I don't want to say realistic, because it is realistic, but it's like, you know, people always are, oh, it's not real, but whatever. But it's a hint more of a realistic setting than Fortnite. So the way that they implement the pickups, the weapons and the items, it's a little more cartoony. So then I think here is where we start seeing the real split. I think here's where we start seeing the real division between players. Because I know people who are like, oh my God, like the guns glow. The guns glow. The guns have like this cartoony attack. Because if you've really shot one of the Fortnite weapons, they feel more ballistic. Like just they feel more like the bullets are bigger.
Lighter.
They just,
the gameplay is much lighter in Fortnite. You feel like you're flying when you play the character.
It feels more cartoony. The guns fire more, like the bullets are bigger. Like you can see the actual bullets better.
Yeah.
But that's because it's just more arcadey. The way that the healing is implemented is somewhat a little similar to the way that in PUBG, but you've got
slurp juice, you know, the shield.
Yeah, it's got this funny vibe to it where it's almost a little like a joke. Whereas in PUBG, it's more like you're fighting for your life. Where in Fortnite, it's like you're fighting to get back to the fun party at the end. You know, that's just kind of like the vibe you're getting. So when it comes to the weapons and items, you're just getting a little more cartoony. And I feel like people who, especially these like the players who are more like gun enthusiasts and stuff like that, are going to get more enjoyment out of PUBG, where you've got a more realistic foundation on the way the guns look, the way the guns play.
Yeah.
We'll talk a little bit more about this in the game mechanics part of this conversation, but I think it adds to the conversation where the weapons and items, that, you know, that adds to why I think this is the way that's why I set up this list like this, because this is where I think gamers start to say, I like one or the other more. Like, you know, depending on what they're looking for. So I think that's that. One other aspect of the game that I think this is probably the biggest aspect of the game when it comes to how player bases have differentiated themselves, whether they're PUBG, you know, Team PUBG or Team Fortnite, is the graphics. Now, I'm not going to say that Fortnite or PUBG has better graphics. I'm not going to say that, because I think that they're both one is stylized. Okay, so one is more cartoony, and the other one aims to be a more realistic shooter. Really, I mean, like that's just the best way to explain it.
Yeah.
That's what it is. Though? Yeah. What do you think about the graphics? Just, I mean, I think this should be like a quick one, because it's just the graphics. You know, like, I mean, like one's a little more, you know, realistic shooting. So you've got the textures are real. You've got weapons that look muddied and used up. You've got houses that are textured to look beat down sometimes, and you know, where with Fortnite it's just like, you know, it's a little cartoony. You've got smoke that looks like, you know, like a cartoon smoke, I guess you could say. Yeah. So what are you? Yeah.
Now that we're talking about this, I'm just thinking, how would it be if PUBG played like Fortnite and Fortnite, you know, had played like PUBG? Like, imagine if the graphics of Fortnite were implemented in the PUBG gameplay, but PUBG had the gameplay of Fortnite. So, like, you're saying, like, imagine if PUBG had the building mechanic instantly like that.
Oh my God! Yeah,
it wouldn't work out. That's where it wouldn't work out. That's why the developers did it that way. And Fortnite is a beautiful game. It's aesthetically pleasing. It's a quick pickup, and I just like the arcade feel. It's made for a younger demographic, and And I really like the fact that they made the maps with like, you know, with the alliteration tilted towers and retail, retail row. So it's really cute when you see, you know, the whole demolition when you're like, with the pickaxe destroying stuff. And it's cute when you're like hitting like a police car and the sirens. Like the graphics really play really well with what the game is. With PUBG, the graphics it's more realistic. So it would make sense that the graphics are more realistic. And they actually implemented blood in this one. They wouldn't do that in Fortnite because it's, you know, it's an arcadey game.
I think that's where it comes down to, the arcadiness of it.
Mm-hmm.
You said that it's for a younger crowd. I'm interested to see how many people comment on that, because I know a lot of people are like, oh, you know, like Fortnite, and they really don't see it as a younger crowd thing. They just see it as a different style of game thing. But I definitely can see where you're coming from, because Fortnite could be measured in like a, you know, what teens, you know, like like in the ESRP, like,
I say that
teens.
I say that because a lot of people that I see on YouTube that when they play the game, I played Fortnite. I don't play it as much as PUBG, but there's definitely is because since I play PUBG more, there's definitely a wider. I mean, there's more of a condensed demographic with more adult, with a more adult audience. Most of the squads I'm paired up with are almost never kids, or at least like, you know, in that 10 to like 13 range, around that area.
Yeah.
Or like a little bit beneath that. I don't hear those type of voices. I hear, you know, like 20 and above, or like, you know, 17, 18, 19. That's the type of group I'm paired up with. But when you go into Fortnite, it's a free-for-all. You can have one guy that's an 8-year-old. There's a 30-year-old in there, a 22-year-old, 17-year-old. It's really, really mixed most of the time. And with that, it's kind of bad in the sense that when you want to play with a squad, most of the people some adults don't really pay much attention to younger audience. So there's not much communication in the squads, and that's what really leads to more of a solo gameplay within the squad, because there's not much communication, because they don't care about their partner, their teammate, because of their age. So I feel like the PUBG demographic is a bit more serious when they go inside the game, because they once I get in and you get in a good squad, they immediately go like, okay, I have this weapon. Does anyone need this sort of ammo? Does anyone need this backpack? Does anyone need this, and this? It's very helpful. But in Fortnite, it's always been, screw this. I just want to kill some people, and I don't care about the guy next to me sort of scenario most of the time.
All right. I mean, personally, I've only played Fortnite in solo. So when it comes to squad gaming on Fortnite, I guess I'm a little bit of a noob. But I can definitely see where the tacticianer in somebody would take more pride in a PUBG environment than in a Fortnite environment. Personally, when I play either one in a solo mode, I feel like I'm planning more in PUBG than I do in Fortnite. I don't know why, but I use the map in Fortnite, but I don't use it the same way that I do with PUBG. In PUBG, I'm a little more tactician than in Fortnite. In Fortnite, I'm almost like less worried about dying. Yeah, I don't know. Like, I don't know why. Like, I get more nervous playing PUBG than I feel like I play Fortnite. I don't know why. It's
the graphics. It's the gameplay. It's the graphics.
I think it's the theme. And you know what? Let's go to the next category, which would be the gameplay mechanics, because I think that this is probably the biggest, my biggest gripe with Fortnite, and not particularly because of the way it plays. I think that it plays great. We'll get on to optimization in the next one, but I'm not a big fan of the building mechanic. I think this is my biggest. It's a weakness of mine, because when I play Fortnite, I don't like to build. I feel like maybe I'm lazy.
I think you were pampered with PUBG.
Yeah, I just don't like the idea of building. Like, it doesn't interest me. I see people like knocking down doors and windows and getting materials, and I'm like, dude, I don't want to do this. I just want to kill. Go around killing people. Yeah, like, I don't want to build doors, and like, I'm not a construction worker. Like, I'm somebody who dropped in and needs to survive. Because in the end, you do need to survive, but I've seen that the people who play Fortnite, they've mastered the mechanic of building.
I wanted to talk about that.
They build walls while they're shooting, and I'm like, how are you doing this?
Yeah,
it's like they're building and shooting at the same time, and I just don't know how they're doing this, and it's interesting. With PUBG, it's not like that. With PUBG, it's just straightforward. Like, you've got your weapons, you've got your ammo, you've got your armor. Go. let the best man shoot and win. What do you think?
No, you hit it right on. You hit the nail there. My biggest gripe with Fortnite is the number one thing about Fortnite, which is the building mechanic, and I don't like it. I find it's BS that you can build something in 2 seconds, and it definitely takes away a lot of the fear of a battle royale game, because in PUBG you're playing the environment and you're playing the enemy. You know how many houses are around you, and that's it. You know what's around you, you know where you can get cover, and that's it. But in Fortnite, you can be in the middle of nowhere and someone starts shooting you. It's like, okay, let me just hotkey whatever hotkey you have, build a wall, and protect yourself in that little bunker, and just outplay the person by jumping around and then shooting them with a shotgun in the face. That's how, to me, you play Fortnite. And to me, that's not as interesting as in PUBG. And PUBG used to not have vaulting, because they added the implementation of vaulting. And now there's another helpful tactic to get out of houses. But when you were in a house before and you heard people outside, you were like, oh my God, you cannot, there is no breaking through walls out of here, buddy. You have to wait for that squad or duo or solo person to come inside, and you have to man it out. There was no way of escaping. So you had to either, every step that you took, every decision that you make in PUBG matters, in the sense that you have to put yourself in a position that you have the advantage, whether it's elevation, whether it's a cover, whether there's an escape route. And that's how I play Fortnite. And that's why I like, PUBG. That's why I play PUBG and prefer it over Fortnite, because a lot of the fear is gone with the building aspect, because you could get cover at any moment. And like I said, the bazooka was there because the bazooka does destroy the walls. But then again, it's just like a lot of the end game battles, when it's a 1v1 at the end in Fortnite, usually ends up being who's the best builder. It's insane. There's people that build towers up to the top, they fall down, come back up, and it's usually like a cat and mouse game until someone wins. But in PUBG, it's like, oh no, you see that small circle and you're looking around and you're like, you see there's 3 trees and you're guessing, where's the last guy? I know there's one guy left, and you're sweating. You don't know where he's going to be. And that's the fear that I like about PUBG that Fortnite doesn't have. Fortnite, to me, it's more about speed and how quick you can build. And let me tell you, it's not easy to build in Fortnite. Like I'm an extreme noob in building in Fortnite. But like you said, it's, to me, the Battle Royale from PUBG I prefer that gameplay, because I don't like that building mechanic. To me, it's, I go in to kill and that's it. But the skill in Fortnite, it's an intense skill, but it's just not for me. And kudos to those who like it.
Then we have the just the overall and I would say item management. In Fortnite, there really is no item management. No. I mean, you get your taskbar, which is where you keep your weapons, and you've got to kind of choose which weapon you want, because I think you can only hold a certain amount. Whereas in PUBG, you've got just it's pure item management galore. I mean, you're walking into a building without a backpack. You're not going to be able to carry as much. Then you're hoping to get a backpack.
Right.
Then you're hoping to get armor. Then you're hoping to get bandages. And there's just
there's an emphasis on the loot.
There is a huge emphasis on the loot, but there's also a huge emphasis on managing that loot while you are being shot at. Right. So it's a little, for me, a little stronger on the loot management. But then this is where I kind of give it to Fortnite. For those who are looking for a streamlined approach, minus the building mechanic, because that's kind of like where I give it the caveat. Fortnite is easier to pick up when it comes to that. You just get a gun, get some of that blue potion, I forgot how it's called, which is kind of like your armor. Yeah, that's your armor. That's it. And you've got, like at least a general basic setup for surviving an encounter. Whereas with PUBG, no bandages, right. No med kit, no armor, no health, no vest, you're pretty much walking in barefoot. And it could be a very bad encounter, just purely on the fact that you did not get the right loot. So it's, I think that there's a little bit of a learning curve when it comes to PUBG in that account. because you really do need to manage your loot better than just picking it up and saying, oh, look, this one's green, this one's purple. I'm going to stick with the purple one because it looks better and is probably going to kill faster.
I want to add on to that definitely when you jump into PUBG compared to Fortnite, there's it's a progression for the loot in PUBG compared to Fortnite, because in Fortnite, from my example, there's been you come down, you find a weapon, and you killed someone, and that person already has a lot of loot, and that's it. You're set for the game. You understand me? They have bandages, and then your 6 slots that you have for the loot, because you only have 6 slots. There's no concern about backpacks or none of that. That's out of the window in Fortnite. You don't have that. You have the 6 slots, and they usually get filled up quick, and that's it. You're good to go. And then once you kill the next guy, keep finding better stuff, and you move on. But with PUBG, you can go into a house, there's nothing. Go into the next house, there's nothing good. There's a pistol. You pick it up. Go into the next house.
You're talking about Miramar, right? I'm just dude,
both,
that map, there's like no loot in that map, bro.
In both.
Oh my God.
And then you confront someone, and then you kill them. They may have one gun, they have the backpack, and you keep going. There's a slower progression with the loot. Also, like when I mentioned that there's an emphasis on the looting, you actually have to take your time a bit in PUBG to find the loot when you kill someone. You know, you go up to them and you actually do like an escape from Tarkov kind of situation where you have to actually go in and see what they have and like, okay, I need this, I need this, I need this. Yep. If you're a master at the game, you know, and you're not a beginner, it's super fast. You already know what you're going for. But it's even faster in Fortnite because once you kill someone, boom, everything comes out of their body and you just run around. Oh, I want bandages. Want this, go. And keep going.
Mm-hmm.
There's no fear on that either in the loot either.
Yeah, which is why I think it's easier to pick up. It's easier to pick up from a point of view of like just somebody jumping in. It might be a little easier to pick up Fortnite than it is to pick up PUBG. But that's just my thoughts. The final category, and probably the one that I'm going to have a little bit more of the gripe between you and I, Luis, is optimization. So I think Fortnite wins on this one. As much as I know that Fortnite is a stylized game, it is optimized. You can play it on PC, both consoles, PlayStation 4 and Xbox. And if I'm not mistaken, the recent update gave all versions of this game 60 frames per second on normal consoles. So you don't even have to have the Pro or the X. You're talking about PlayStation 4. We're talking about Xbox One and Xbox One S. We're talking 60 frames per second. The game runs incredibly smooth. I've tested it on the PlayStation 4 Pro. I've tested it on the PlayStation 4, and it is very smooth. Now, I cannot say the same for PUBG. Now, PUBG on PC is a huge improvement to the PUBG on Xbox. I personally have not played the PUBG on Xbox, but I have been told from a lot of the people that I talk to about games and people who play on Xbox that the experience of PUBG on Xbox remains wanting. You know, you've got a lot of internet issues, you've got bugs, you've got slow loading. Most of the time, the best word that I've heard to kind of encapsulate the issues with the Xbox version of PUBG is unreliable. You know, it's just not a reliable experience, which is interesting because PUBG is full of like the idea that you need to have a reliable system. Like you need to be able to jump into a game, commit to the game, and then hope that the game doesn't dump you out when you're top 5, you know. Now the PC version seems to be running just fine. I mean, I think that minus a few little hiccups here and there, and you know, I think it runs fine. I mean, it runs, you know, at a normal rate. I think I usually get no less than 60 FPS on PC easily and no hiccups whatsoever. I am running a little bit of a strong, you know, a high spec rig, so I can't talk for the ones who are running lower rigs, but just lower your graphics and I think it should be fine, right? Like the resolution, just lower it and PUBG should run fine. What do you think? What are your thoughts on this, Luis?
No, I agree with you there. Fortnite does run buttery smooth on my PC. And I have heard the same statements that you made about in relation to the consoles with PUBG. However, you know, the patch that they had, I think it was a 1.0 patch, when they basically changed the whole game and they implemented the vaulting mechanic and they added the new desert map. My computer did have an issue running the game prior to that. didn't stop me from playing it. But once the 1.0 patch came out, it did run super, super good. All I can say is just hopefully they keep updating it, optimizing it better. I don't think that's an issue to say whether the game is better than the other or not. I mean, it just performance-wise, I understand.
Such a solid advocate position. I loved it. Like, what you just said was perfect. You were like, I don't think that's a topic that we should use to define which game is better. I loved it.
It's true, because if optimization is the only issue, once they get optimized, which game would you rather play? That's what it comes down to.
No, it's an excellent point.
I forgot. We also forgot to mention about cars in PUBG.
Yeah, the fact that you do have cars and the fact that because these maps are so large, you have this implementation, this game mechanic where you're pretty much jumping into a car with your squad, and you don't have that in Fortnite.
They could implement it in Fortnite. They could have like little minis, like mini cars or golf club cars.
You know what? Maybe like a scooter would be cool.
Yeah,
like,
they definitely will in the future. I'm pretty sure they would. It would definitely increase the fun value of the game.
Have it go slower though, because you can't just be able to jump across the map in a second. Because remember, it's a smaller map. Yeah, it's a smaller map.
I'm sure the devs will figure out what speed they'll will program.
Wait a minute. Actually, this is really recent news, and I don't know why it just slipped my head completely. But they are implementing, not sure how, jetpacks. So that might be something that they're using to kind of help individuals traverse quicker, or maybe I'm not sure how they're implementing it, but I know that there is a jetpack. It's coming soon, quote. But I'm just not really sure how they're going to implement that.
That statement right there made me like Fortnite just a little less. I already despise
You don't like the jetpack system?
I don't like.
You don't like like some guy whizzing around like
No. The less arcadey, the better. So that's just me. I already told you I don't like the building mechanic. Takes away the fear out of it. It takes away. It just takes the gratification of the kill from me. When have you seen the launch pad that they have now? They also have impulse grenades that you could basically throw.
You're really not having any of that. Like,
I'm not having none of that fun
fiction,
stuff here, buddy.
Fun stuff. I'm a
Squidward when it comes to games.
Yeah.
SpongeBob.
If it doesn't have blood, if it doesn't have violence, I don't want to play.
No. But. No.
Yeah, no, I get you. I understand where you're coming from. I totally do. But I also understand that they're like, I like that you're so passionate about like the PUBG experience. But I also understand that there are players that just kind of like they have a different because you go in with like this mentality of tacticianer.
Yes.
You want to strategize.
Yes.
You're going in. You want to have things planned out.
Yes.
Totally get you.
It's not only,
but then you have also people. Yeah.
Sorry. No, keep finish.
No. Then you have also the people who are playing a little more of a, shall I argue, casual game. I know I'm going to get dirt for this because I know people are like, "What are you talking about? Fortnite could be competitive." Absolutely,
it is.
But I'm just comparing the experience that I've had with PUBG and the experience that I've had with Fortnite. And for some odd reason, whenever I want a casual sit down game, if it's between the both, I'll go to Fortnite. Don't know why. Like, I don't understand why in my mind Fortnite's less stressful than PUBG. Because it's just less like it's less mind consuming.
The difficulty of Fortnite is that Fortnite is all about speed. Fortnite is all about the reaction time, your aim, how good you can build in the speed of light. All those factors make you a great Fortnite player. With PUBG, it's a tacticianary player. You need to make sure. There's communication with your squad. You're playing against the environment. You have to, when you go to that circle, you have to figure out what's the best spot in this circle right now, because you can't cover yourself with any wall that you build there at the moment. And if you're in the open area, you're screwed and game over. So the fear is definitely there in PUBG. For Fortnite, it's more of I'm going in to have a funner time, and if I get the victory, woohoo baby, great job, that kind of feeling. But in PUBG, it's definitely. It has more weight to that gratification when you finally see that last guy go down and you see that chicken, winner, chicken dinner pop up and you and your squad go like, yeah, baby, yeah. It's more gratifying. I'm a sucker for when the physics of when you kill something in the game feel heavy. They feel like you're actually killing the player. in PUBG, I love the AK because the AK is such a solid and strong weapon that when you're shooting it, I can feel the kickback on my mouse. It sounds ridiculous, but I can feel that the weight, the recoil.
It's like it's like your mind itself is recoiling.
Exactly. Like and when the bullet lands and you see from far away that blood splatter and you realize you hit him, it's gratifying. With Fortnite, the guns feel very light. They have almost no recoil. You can shoot a scar across the field, and those 5 bullets will kill the guy within seconds, and he had no idea what was coming. That doesn't happen in PUBG. You need to land those 3 shots or 4 shots accurately based on the distance, because the more distance you have, the less speed the bullet goes, and the more chance the guy has of surviving rather than up close, especially if he has armor. I like those factors in the game. In Fortnite, it's not there. It's all about the shield, and I just feel like there's weight to the weapons, and it just feels very gratifying. It just goes back to the gratification of the game.
The gratification, the satisfaction you get from killing your prey. I get that. It makes sense, and I think that as much as I know people, especially those who are in the Fortnite part of the arena, I personally do really kind of I put Fortnite in like the more, not casual gamer, but like the less strategizing game. You know, like I just feel like PUBG requires a little more mental thought when you're playing. It's a bigger map. You gotta choose your paces better than in Fortnite. That's just my thought. You know, I'm sure I'm gonna get some hell for that, but it's okay. Now let's kind of do a little rundown before we close up this episode. Fortnite versus PUBG map. Lewis, what do you think? Who takes the cake, PUBG or Fortnite?
Oh man, you should know by now. Fortnite.
Fortnite, yeah.
No.
So I'm assuming, okay, so PUBG takes the cake. I think that PUBG takes the cake for the map as well. So that's 1 point for PUBG on our part. Fortnite versus PUBG, weapons and items. What do you think? Are you going to give it to PUBG as well? Is it? You're going to give it to PUBG? In this one, I'm going to have to also give it to PUBG only because I do like the gaming mechanic of the way the weapon, like the item loot system is. Although, I do put this with a caveat, I believe that the weapons and items the learning curve is easier for those coming in from like a non-Battle Royale system. Fortnite might be an easier pickup than PUBG, but overall, I feel like the PUBG has the better mechanics there when it comes to weapons and items. For graphics, unfortunately, I'm going to have to go with Fortnite on this. I think that although PUBG does an excellent job in the realistic department, the graphics are just not up to par.
I'm actually on a standstill with this one. I'm neither. The different game styles.
You're gonna put neither?
Yeah,
oh, okay.
The different game styles.
Okay, you know, I was going to give Fortnite the point on this one, so I guess Fortnite will take it only because, but I'm with you. I if I had to not choose, I would not choose, but I'm going to give it to Fortnite. But you're right. They're 2 separate games with 2 separate styles and systems, like art systems. However, I think that Fortnite does its system better. Like, I think that Fortnite, for the way it is, it looks better. PUBG is a beautiful game, but I think it could look better. I think PUBG needs an upgrade sometimes in certain textures, but that's just my taste on it. I'm sure people are going to I'm sure people have their opinion, which is why, by the way, later on, make sure to vote. So we'll get that. Then Fortnite versus PUBG gameplay mechanics. I think PUBG takes the cake on this one only because I don't like the building mechanics at all, like whatsoever. I don't find it interesting. I don't like it. I don't do it. That's just me. What do you think? You're gonna take PUBG as well?
Same, for the same fact.
Yeah, I figured.
And the bazookas. Yeah. Don't like the bazookas.
And the bazookas. And then when it comes to the final one, Fortnite versus PUBG optimization. Personally, Fortnite. I am down Fortnite 100%. I think Fortnite is the better optimized game. Once PUBG starts getting their things together, then I'll give them that point. But for now, I think that just Fortnite plays better on all consoles. Now, it doesn't mean that PUBG plays bad on PC. I think PUBG plays great. I just don't think on Xbox it's up to par. I know it's an update behind, actually. I know that Xbox is kind of like still like it's in weird limbo stage, but still it's out. It needs to be compared. It needs to be added to the pool. And I think that that's holding PUBG down in the optimization scheme. So that's that. So I'm kind of like on the fence, Lewis. What do you think? Should we have the jury answer every single one, or do you think we should just give them a 1-0 vote, PUBG or Fortnite? It's up to us. We are the judges here. What do you think? Should we give them on the questionnaire every single category and have them choose each one, or should we just give them a general, just PUBG versus Fortnite? What do you think?
I'd really like to see what they think about difficulty, the building mechanic, and the weapons and items.
Question, right?
Yeah,
I
don't think they need to answer everything because the people are busy. But I would like to go further in depth because I like to go on these YouTube videos, and I actually did some research because I wanted to be well rounded just in case for this podcast. But I want to go further in depth with the jurors here to see what they think, rather than just saying, "Ooh, Fortnite sucks," or "PUBG's the best," or "PUBG sucks," and "Fortnite's the best." So implement some questions in there for them, man. Let's do it.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, we'll definitely, at least for sure, have a Fortnite versus PUBG questionnaire. Whether it's going to be detailed out as we have explained in this podcast, or whether it'll be just a plain PUBG versus Fortnite, will be up to divide. But again, it's going to be on the same place it was last time. So whatever is there, that is the verdict we need you guys to answer. Lewis, any last minute thoughts before we close out episode 47?
I just hope the best of both worlds have a good time playing their games. And I'm actually going to play some Fortnite after because I got in the mood for some Fortnite now. Want to test out the other side.
You're in the mood for some Fortnite?
Yeah, I'll play some of it.
You're in the mood for some more cowbell? You want some more cowbell?
I can be mean to some games, but I still play them.
Yeah. Oh, because you know what? That's the gamer life. We're critical about it, but we just want the best experience for whoever wants to enjoy it. And you know what? Absolutely. I second Lewis's comment. Whether you're PUBG, whether you're Fortnite, the important part in every gaming experience is that you have fun, that you enjoy the game. Regardless of who thinks what or what we think or what anybody thinks, if you enjoy playing the game, go in there, enjoy. We all have a very short time in this life of ours, so might as well just enjoy whatever we like to enjoy.
Wow.
As the jury, guys, you will now be tasked to deliberate on what we spoke about. Go to www.hungjurynetwork.com and click on the weekly deliberation page, where you will find a poll that will let you be a part of that final verdict. We will then disclose the results at the start of the following show. Please remember that we upload every Monday. Timing depends on the weather. Make sure to check us out at our website, www.hungjurynetwork.com. Search us up on iTunes, Google Play Music, Podbean, Stitcher, and other affiliate podcast services as Hung Jury Gaming Podcast. This conversation goes both ways, so send us your thoughts. Join the jury by tweeting your comments to @Hung Jury Gaming Podcast and join the Facebook page. As always, guys, thank you for listening. You guys are awesome, and we will see you and talk to you guys next week. Bye.
Bye-bye, everyone.
Bye.